knot tying is one of the most important skills you can have in survival. The most important of all those knots is the types of knots associated with trapping and fishing. And to tie a blood knot on a fish hook, you get your cordage. Of course, this is a shark hook and a big piece of cordage to make it easier for me to show you how to do this. First thing you do, you pass your string through the eye, and you make sure you have a good standing part there. See? Make one loop. Make a second loop. You take your free end, pass it through the loop. Okay. And you wrap it around the shank. I try to go 7 turns. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And after you get your seventh turn, you pass it through the opposite end of your loop. Just like that. And you take this loop, take that, and see you pull the looseness out of that, just like that. You pull it in nice and tight. Then you take your standing part, and you pull the looseness out of that. And that right there, my friends, is basically a noose hitch tied onto the shank of the hook. And it doesn't matter if you're using string or monofilament line or cotton thread. It doesn't matter what you're using. That knot right there absolutely will not pull out. And of course you trim your long end. But that's the best possible way to attach a fish hook to monofilament line or anything like that, because it just absolutely will not pull loose. And this knot works extremely well with all diameters of fishing line and just about any size of hook, except for maybe the very tiniest ones would be hard to tie. But it works extremely well. And sometimes you may not have any cordage or fishing line or anything like that to use, and all you'll be able to find is just vines. And you can't bend the vine over sharp or tie an overhand knot in it because they snap. But there is something you can do. What I do is I'll take a piece of oak wood like this here. It's a little chip off of a burl. See, it's got a nice round swirl in it, and the center of it will just pop right out. You can dig it out with a knife, drill it with a stone, or a lot of times you can just pop them right out because they come right apart. And the thing about these is that the wood makes a complete circle, and so it doesn't have any open spots and it won't spread or separate. So what you can do, you take the narrow end of one of your vines, run it through the hole that way. See, it'll come right off, right? You take the slender end of another vine and run it through the opposite end, and you go the other direction. And you pull it through that way. Back this up just a little bit. pulling it through. And where the two ends meet, where the two ends begin to meet, where they're both the thickest, it'll go tight right there where the hole is, and they won't pull through. So I just turn two short vines into one vine that's long enough to go fishing with. And I can also make a fish hook with the same technology. Just take a little wood burl that has a hole in it, and take my vine, slide it on there a little ways, see, so it looks like that. I'm going to take one of my thorns, slide it in that way, take my other thorn, slide it in the other direction until they go tight, and then I have a fish hook. And you trim any loose ends, you trim that off a little bit, and you got a perfectly good fishing line that's just made out of a couple pieces of wood and a vine. Yeah, what's wrong with that? And these won't come apart, because even if your thorn does come loose, when it's inside of the fish's mouth, it'll still catch. See, and it won't come undone. The vine's still caught fast, even though this thorn is loose. See, it doesn't come undone. And it's an extremely effective, extremely traditional way of making fish hooks. And it's a form of tying that most people aren't familiar with, but now you know how to do it. And for making extremely tiny hooks, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take a little straw like this here, for a little coffee stir straw, and I'll cut a little piece off of it. I'll slide it onto the end of my vine, then I'll take one of my thorns and I'll pass it through one way, take my second thorn and press the two pieces together, and that makes a really good fish hook. Just a piece of a plastic straw and a couple thorns, and you got a fish hook. And those are a few useful comments on tying and how to tie and what to tie with. My name is Trapper Jack. Thank you for watching.